But this is the new business, the new way of the new age of corporate running boxing, rather than the way it used to be with the foundations where the belts don't mean anything, they just manufacture new titles. Here you got Austin Trout as the WBA champion and Floyd as the WBA super champion. And I guess if, I don't know, Trout and Canelo fight, were they going to have the super duper champion? I mean, you got all these people with championship belts running around because they want to throw their promotional banner. They get their little money off the fight too. So everybody want their little piece of the action. And that's because when you get to the point like Floyd Mayweather, the belts don't mean anything. Manny Pacquiao, so why pay a fee? I mean, what another belt, another title gonna mean to Mayweather? He's not fighting for the titles no more. He's fighting for the bread. And I mean, what's wrong with that? Look at the history of the people who got screwed over. It was always the fighters. They were never in positions to be promoters to control their own fate. You look at the people like Joe Louis, Sugar Ray Robinson. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Most of these guys died penniless and broke, but their legacies are intact and their names are synonymous, lives on forever. But they suffered. Their families suffered. They had to see their families suffer because they were in pain. They didn't have any benefits to take care of them, nothing. And then you criticize people like Mayweather for fighting for the money rather than the belt and his legacy. His legacy is already submitted. When he retires, you judge his legacy. You can judge it. But one thing he gonna have is he gonna have his faculties and his bank book when he leaves. And that's what he wants to make sure he submit, because this game will leave you with nothing. You don't believe me? Look at people like Sugar Shane Mosley as a more recent product of this game. Here's a guy who smiles and the most polite gentleman you ever wanted to meet. He's very kind, never had a bad word to say about anybody. HBO loves him. Everybody, the fans loved him. This guy comes to fight. He does everything he's supposed to do. And what happened? He did everything y'all asked of him to do. And what happens? He's always on the dog end of the stick, getting the most ridiculous payday for a fight, but he's got to take it because he's broke. And now he's got a girlfriend he's got to support, and her lifestyle, or she's gonna leave and go to the next person, the next highest bidder. You know, so now he's got to come back and do and start something in his 40s that he should have had done in his 20s. But because he was mismanaged, because he was nice, they took advantage of him. And when you got crooks like Cedric Kushner involved, you know, these type of things happen to you. So you got to roll with the punches. But this is why Floyd ain't fighting for no damn legacy, and why it's okay to fight for money. Because this is what it's all about. What you leave for your family. Go interview Sugar Ray Robinson's kids. Go interview Muhammad Ali kids. Go interview Joe Louis' son. Interview these guys and see what did their father leave them in terms of money. They had nothing to leave them. Joe Louis barely saw his kids. Barely saw them. They were complete strangers to him. Even when he was sick and dying, he basically was alone. He was by himself. Out in Las Vegas living with friends, just dying. What did this do? He had nothing. And they was like, oh, well, the game has changed. Look at people like Thomas Hearns. This game will leave you with nothing. And they say, well, some of the onus has to go to the fighters. It's true. Because most fighters come from nothing. They're not used to having all of this access to money. And they act as if they're going to have it forever as long as they fight. The money will always be there and it'll keep coming in. Well, what happens when it's gone? They get punched in the head. They don't have a sense of mind, most of them, to go out and get a business manager. And then you become paranoid when you get that powerful and that rich or that famous. You become paranoid and skeptical of the people around you. So you become less trustworthy of anybody around your money, including family. So most of them isolate themselves from their family and they stay with immediate family and they get sued by family. So it's a whole different world than what other people would imagine it to be. I've seen some crazy things in boxing. One fighter suing his mama because his mom was his manager and she was taking money from his account, and she put herself on salary from 2 years prior when she said she wasn't taking any money. So she went back to get the money that she felt entitled to, that she put all the work into, and wasn't getting the money. Now that the money was coming in, she was paying herself from the first 2 years when she wasn't really making it. So when she took on when he got signed with another promoter and manager, took in another partner or whatever of his career, and they looking at this and they like, man, your mom is reckless. So then he was forced with a choice that he had to do. In order to advance, to get to the type of fights he wanted, he had to sue his mama, and to get out of the contract deal she had with him, so he could move forward with someone in the career who was basically had the connections to get him to the next level. And that's another thing in this business that you're gonna run into. You're definitely gonna run into people who's gonna take you to the next level. That's the thing. You run into a wall, then you run into people that say, okay, you know what? Can you take me to the next level? And if you have no connections in this game, or if you're not that connected, people are not going to listen to you. You just don't. It's narrow-minded, but it's the way they like to operate. They just be like, okay, you know what? Take him to this guy, and then I'll work with him because I work good with him. I don't like working with a guy who I don't know, or he's not that experienced with what we do. I'm working with this guy over here for 30 years. Talk to him, he'll help you out, and I'll work through him. So now that's another guy you got to cut in on some money. Everybody's cutting in for a 7% figure. Trust me. It's sad. Everybody's getting a 7% deal. Oh, you're getting 7. This guy's getting 17. This other guy's getting some money. Everybody's taking 7%. It's crazy.